speech. All
I
right.
love him.
Okay, question. How do we explain and combat racism in sports? Now, racism exists in every sector of life, in every country, and in every industry of work. We recently witnessed racism in sports, which isn't the first time. We saw the U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson be banned from the Olympics over marijuana, while a Russian figure skater, Kamila Valieva, was cleared to compete after testing positive for illegal performance enhancers. And we all know Sha'Carri was banned prior to the Winter Olympics after testing positive for marijuana, which she consumed to help cope with her mother's death. And this is what she had said. Quote, "It's all in the skin. Can we get a solid answer on the difference of her situation and mine? My mother died and I can't run and was also favored to place top 3. The only difference I see is I'm a black young lady." Now, Camila failed in December and the world just not knows. However, my results were positive within a week and my name and talent was slaughtered to the people. By the way, THC is definitely not a performance enhancer. What do you guys think? Do you think racism is real in when it comes to how they deal with people in sports? Now, before you answer, I'm gonna just say hell yeah.
Yeah, but I think the first question you asked is how do we combat it? And I think it's going to be hard to do that because sports is a racist institution. So I feel like the first thing we got to do is create our own sports institutions like what we had in the past, very long time ago. But we can create our own basketball leagues. And we have, shout out to people like Ice Cube. We can create our own football leagues. But I think that's the first step in combating racism within sports because sports itself is racist. It just always was. The owners, a lot of them are racist. You see what they do with the coaches. There's barely black coaches in any of the sports. So it's just a racist institution.
I do think creating our own long term is a great idea, but I think before that, we need people of color, black people in particular, as gatekeepers in pre-existing institutions. Because I don't feel good about letting them off easy. Like, oh, we're gonna create our own thing, and y'all can keep on being racist to those who are left behind. I think in the institutions that currently exist, you need more black coaches, you need more black officials, you need more black owners, you need black gatekeepers. Because the reason why racism is so prevalent in sports is because we talked about the NFL earlier. It's like modern day plantations where all the overseers are white and all the talent, all the worker bees are black. And that dynamic has to shift. And so as long as it's white overseers with black talent, we're going to always have racism. We need black people who are making those calls, who are in those meetings, who are deciding those things about who gets to be in the Olympics and who doesn't, because athletes are not enough. We need owners who are black in sports.
Well, Sha'Carri mentioned that the world just found out about this 15-year-old testing positive for a banned performance-enhancing substance, and this was back in December. And so, again, I just think that, I always say I can't wait till everybody gets woke, and that I'm woke as because I'm sitting here watching this all play out in real time. It's not just sports, it's music, it's media, it's raising money. It's just being black in America. And, I know when I first started building Hollywood Unlocked, I was very mindful to try to use my platform to build bridges. But then when I realized that other end of the bridge don't always reach back, sometimes you just got to build your side of the bridge a lot louder for the people to see and a lot stronger for people to see. And so what I know for sure is that if every athlete who is a person of color just failed to go to the table and compete, they would all figure it out. Think about it. If everybody who is a person of color, from basketball to football to tennis to whatever, just decided I'm no longer playing as a collective until they change it. Do you know how fast the sweeping changes would take place in sports? I mean, it would have a significant impact because if we said we're not showing up and playing and we're not watching, what is that going to look like?
I agree. I feel like we got so much power. And like you said, we do need black owners. We need more black coaches, but we got black players, right? And black players have a voice and they are powerful. They're the people that we look at. If everybody goes on that court and says, we're not doing anything, if they go on that field and say, we're not doing anything, they'll try to find you after game 1. But if you keep doing that through game 2, game 3, game 4, changes have to be made immediately because the money's going to plummet. And that's what we got to do. To take down that racist institution, we got to hit them in their pockets.
Well, something that came out of the brunch was when one of the people there said that, black folks, black celebrities feel like white ice is colder. Another thing that came out from Connie Orlando, who's the SVP over at BET, when she said that when black celebrities don't show up for our stuff, it makes our brands look weaker and it makes our brands look less important. And when I think about that, I think about how often our folks don't show up for each other, but still show up for other people who they claim to be racist or suppress them? Is it because of the bag that the loyalty is there, or is it just this? I personally have said that I think it's the seeking of white validation that our people tend to have that gets them confused on where their priorities should lie.
No, I just feel like sometimes we're conditioned to feel like white institutions are more professional. Even if you look at how sports work with HBCUs, why aren't these players going to play at historically black colleges? No, because they think of Duke and all these other schools that are clearly white owned are more professional. They have more resources. But if we start going to these platforms, if we go to these institutions, we will help them bring the resources. So I think it's kind of like how we're conditioned. I don't know where that conditioning started, where we look at, oh, this white institution is more professional than with us, with our own kind created.
Yeah, I do think that white is a default and that the whole world sees white as refined and mainstream and good, and anything that's not white is considered ethnic and other. Perfect example. I'm on this show, I'm on a black network, I have black co hosts, but I'm also very aware that if I showed up the way that I usually look, which was with my hair in a wrap, an African head wrap would make you all in the comment section like, oh, this is unprofessional. Why is she wearing African head wrap? She looks like she's going to the store, despite the fact that people wear these head wraps for their weddings in other countries, right? Anything that's not white presenting is always seen as unprofessional. It's always seen as raw and crude, and that's all steeped in anti-blackness. White features, white validation, it's all part of the same system. But I do have to be honest though, I'm never going to judge any athletes or anybody who's in professional sports who has a family to feed. And before they can think about the community, they have to feed their family. And they're saying, hey, this place that I'm going has more resources. So that's why I keep on talking about why we need more black gatekeepers, because even if we have all the players say we're not going to come back, when it's time to talk about change without a black gatekeeper at the table, that change is going to be very like paltry. We need people on both sides making sure that when we inconvenience them, the folks who are making the solutions also look like us. We can't just keep on
Hmm.
flipping over tables.
Right, but we also have to take a very hard stand on where we sit with the issue, right? If we believe that racism
Yeah.
is, of course, one of the last few shows we talked about the Super Bowl, and we talked about people flip flopping on the issue of whether they stand or kneel with Colin, or they're all about Jay-Z getting the bag for the music production. Either way, I feel like, again, like we need to stop being America's hot sauce. We need to stop being white culture mainstream's hot sauce. We need to be the entire meal. And that's the one thing that everybody I talk to at Hollywood Unlocked, when I'm entering a partnership, I'll tell you straightforward a conversation I had with one of my brand partners the other day. When I told him that the price doubled, they wanted to get into analytics and followers and this and that. I said, let me be very clear. The follower count is one thing, which we're almost at 3 million, but the culture behind those followers matters. Like, I'm not a meme page. I am not a influencer page. I am one of the culture leaders online. And so to tell me, and I had this black woman telling me what my value was, I had to check her very clearly and then call the owner of the company to check him. So that way we can understand that I'm not here as a number on your bottom line, that I'm here to give you the privilege of sharing your products with black people who spend a lot of black dollars. And I think at first they were a little offended. And most people who are non-black get offended, whether you're in sports or media or whatever, when you speak out of turn. Well, let me tell you, it's our turn. It's our turn to get everything we want, everything we deserve. And when I decided to double my rates, there wasn't a lot of thought that went into it. I know the value and I know the discount a lot of people have been privileged to get, and those discounts are over. And I think that what we have to do is be very clear on our position. And more times than few, I found this person, which I think has to happen in sports and has to happen in every other industry, trying to manipulate me into believing that the favor they were doing for me by giving me money was something I should feel privileged about. And the other thing is they were gaslighting me into defending my value. I don't think we have
Hmm.
to defend our value. We know our value. And I think that, again, going back to stop being America's hot sauce or white folks' hot sauce, black people just need to get on one accord and look at all their self-interests and align them with the collective interest so we can get to a better place. That's the only way we're going to win.